So this is that promise story here in Corning in New York. So we're going to do some really, really interesting things out here, including some insanity. I've been promised a drop of a phone from 2 meters. Do you realize 2 meters is like way above me? But right now I'm going to meet John Bain. Let's go. John, this is wonderful. I mean, how did you manage a day like this just for us?
Just for you, Rajiv. Just great to see you. Thanks for coming to visit us.
This is looking wonderful. The first question is, yes, it's beautiful, but why did Corning choose this as their location right in the beginning? This is your headquarters, but I hear there's a lot of history behind that. Water apparently was very important. I know a little bit of your history, but I want to fill in all the blanks.
Sure.
So, love to know it from you.
Corning has been around for 170 years, and the only way companies can be relevant that long is to continue to innovate and do life-changing inventions. That's the core of Corning. And we started 170 years ago in New York City and Brooklyn, but at the time, the people who were running the company needed access to labor, and labor was short. They also needed access to raw materials. So they looked for places in New York State they could move to where they could have water to bring in coal to heat our furnaces, and sand and access to labor, and it brought them to this beautiful small town called Corning, New York, where we are here today. So they moved up here in about 1870, and here's the Chemung River, where we had access to bring in through barges sand and coal and other raw materials. And we started building the main plant, a small manufacturing building, red brick, and over time we expanded it. But that's where some of our earliest inventions were developed. For example, Thomas Edison needed a heat-resistant glass envelope for the light bulb, and he came to Corning, and we made light bulbs for Edison, first by the dozens, then hundreds, then thousands, then millions. Then, because our glass, we were so good at making glass, we started to attract people who specialize in glass. So even for artistic purposes, this became really a hub in the United States. We believe part of knowing where you're going is knowing where you're coming from. And we always want that history of innovation and life-changing innovation to stay with us.
Wow.
We're going to take you up to our labs and show you microchip to fingertip, how our optics play a critical role in enabling today's most advanced semiconductors and how that ends up on the devices.
So, you know, I keep hearing about that very interesting tagline, which of course also defines everything you do, which is microchip to fingertip. Is that what we're going to really understand?
It is.
Today?
We're going to tell that story from where we start to help make the world's most advanced semiconductor chips to where we go to holding these devices in our hands.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So let's start at the beginning, Rajiv. To make semiconductor chips, you need laser light. That's how you write the circuitry on the chip itself. And what people don't realize is that in these laser modules, Corning actually supplies a key component. In fact, the laser module would not work without Corning glass. We use a very special type of glass called calcium fluoride, and here's a block of that glass, write the circuitry. The next step is you have to go through what's called a photolithography machine. That's really the heart of semiconductor manufacturing. What that does is it directs the laser light to write the circuitry on the chip, called high purity fused silica. This is one of the purest, if not the purest, form of glass made by humankind. So just on the microchip piece alone, we play a role in the laser, directing the laser, and inspecting. So 3 key elements. So you would not be able to make semiconductor chips today without these key elements in the supply chain. So that's the role that Corning plays that very few people know.
Absolutely. My mind is completely blown.
Oh, there's more. So, okay, we've made the chips now, okay? So now the chips enable us to run our different devices, but to create content. Now we have to get that content to the people who want to see the content. And what people don't realize is that content today goes down optical fiber. What they need to realize is that the information is being created with lasers, right, and going down optical fiber, which Corning helped create. So they're interacting with Corning right now. Right.
That is very interesting.
We make strengthened cover glass to protect handheld devices. So this is the fingertip part of our story. We also make the display glass, help make the display panels that are in the phone itself with a different technology. So we help make the display, and then we help protect it with Gorilla Glass, this load machine that actually puts a load on a piece of glass and drags the tip across and actually tries to scratch the glass to make sure that our glasses are better for scratch than our competitive glasses.
So I've been told that the Impact Lab is where we're going to have an incredible something that we've never seen before. Just to make sure that you understand how high this is, I am 6'1", and this is towering above me. So if I had to drop a phone from here, to raise my hand up and then let it drop. So that's 2 meters. Now let's see what happens.
We're here now in our research lab. We have some of our newer products and actually products we're still developing. And so here is we're extending our proprietary and world-leading Gorilla Glass into other applications like automobiles.
Okay.
And the reason this makes sense is because the historical way to do windshield glass or exterior glass in a vehicle is to use soda-lime glass. So similar type of glass you'd have in an architectural application. Well, Gorilla Glass, because it's so strong, you can go thinner and lighter. So really, you think about it, you want the entire cockpit to be glass. So you have glass controls down here, glass controls here. This can be a display for the passenger to watch. And nothing in a car is really flat. So you need a glass that can actually conform to the dashboard or the interior of the vehicle. And Gorilla Glass being strong, we can actually bend the glass and conform it. So this will be part of our future story. And then over here, we have an augmented reality headset. There's different ways to do augmented reality, but what they all have in common is they need what's called a high index of refraction glass. So index of refraction is how light gets bent through a material, and the higher the index, the wider the field of view you can have. So regardless of what technology ultimately wins, you're going to want a glass that has high index.
From the legacy to understanding Corning the company, and now all the stuff that you're doing. Thank you so much, John.
You're welcome.
As always, this has been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.